Revelation by Jennifer Borgersen. It was Friday and payday. Thank heavens. They were running low on food. She had given the children the last of the milk and cereal at breakfast. Other than a few leftover boiled potatoes, the refrigerator reminded her of Old Mother Hubbard's bare cupboard. Every few minutes she was looking out the window, watching for Rob to come home with his paycheck. BJ and Susie, as soon as Daddy gets home, we'll go to the store and get some groceries. Maybe we can even get some bologna for sandwiches. Does that sound good? She asked. Yes, said BJ, her 6-year-old son, who was always hungry. I love meat sandwiches. Mommy, can we get stuff for cookies? Susie asked. Susie was 5 years old, and she had a sweet tooth that her mother could rarely cater to, so making a batch of cookies would be a real treat for the children. Well, let's see how much money we have left after we get the groceries. If there's enough, we'll get some flour and sugar for cookies, she said. The clock on the wall read 6 o'clock. Rob should have been home by now. She hoped that he was okay, and that he had not stopped off at a bar to have a beer with his friends. One beer always led to another. I'm hungry, BJ said. My tummy's all rumbly. Oh, honey, the time just slipped away. Goodness, it's already 7. I wonder what's keeping your father, she said. She opened the refrigerator and pulled out the leftover boiled potatoes. She chopped them up with forceful blows of the knife, all the while thinking about the lateness of her husband's arrival. After she finished, she pulled the frying pan out of the cupboard, and it hit the burner of the stove with a clang. Heating the pan with a little oil, she threw in the potatoes. As she watched them brown, she wondered if the small amount of hash browns would be enough to fill her children's stomachs. Your daddy's running late, so you can have hash browns for dinner, she said. Won't that be a fun treat? Oh, yum. I love browns, Susie said. Me too, BJ said. The children sat down and they blessed their food. Then they applied their forks to the minute pile of hash browns on their plates. When they were finished eating, BJ asked, Can I have some more? It about broke her heart when she said, I'm sorry, sweetie, but that's all there is. BJ's face looked disappointed, but he said, Oh, okay. By now it was 8 o'clock, and Rob still was not home. She slammed the frying pan into the sink as she filled it with warm, soapy water. She began scrubbing with powerful jabs as the potatoes stuck on the bottom. It looked like he had done it again. With a paycheck in his pocket, he had gone to the bar to drink and play cards. He always thought that he could win a few extra bucks playing poker, but he never did. It was always the same story. Jess, you can't expect me to never have any fun. Working at the mill's hard, and I deserve a break. Sure you do, hon, but we need the money for the mortgage and to buy food, she said. If we didn't have those 2 brats, you could work. Then we'd have more money. If it weren't for them, I wouldn't even be married. Those kids love you, and all you want is to get rid of them. That's right. I told you I don't want no kids. But you got pregnant anyway. Well, it takes 2, you know. They'd been down the same road innumerable times. For him, it was always her fault that none of the birth control methods had worked. She had delivered 4 babies, but to his delight, only 2 had lived. She looked at the clock. 9 p.m. Well, it was certain that he would not be coming home soon, so she got her children ready for bed. Before tucking them in, she gave them a big drink of water to help them feel full. She listened to their prayers, tucked them into bed, and kissed them goodnight. Then she waited. Around midnight, she heard their car coming down the street. The headlights flashed across the picture window in the living room as the car turned into the driveway. The engine turned off, and it seemed as if an hour had passed before she heard the car door slam shut. She took a deep breath to fortify herself for his arrival. When he had been drinking, she never knew what to expect. He would either be angry as a bear or as docile as a lamb. Hey there, Jess, he said, opening the door. Where's the kids? I got something for 'em. Oh, thank heavens. He was in a good mood. He had brought a treat for the children. It would be an easy night. They're in bed, Rob. It's late. Get 'em up. I got something for 'em, he said. Rob, you can give it to them in the morning. She realized that she had misread his mood when he grabbed her hair and struck her across the mouth. Don't you tell me what to do. Get the kids. Okay, I will. Let go of my hair. He let go of her hair and shoved her towards the children's bedroom. She stumbled and righted herself before she fell. She did not want to awaken her children. She did not want them to see their father in his drunken state. She knew if she did not get the children up, he would only become angrier and more violent. She walked into the bedroom that her children shared. "BJ," she said as she nudged his shoulder, "wake up, honey. Your daddy's got something for you." What?" BJ asked. "Get up now. Your daddy wants you." She went over to Susie's bed and touched her shoulder. "Sweetie, Daddy's home and has a surprise for you." Susie opened her eyes and said, "What prize?" "Come and see," she said. They got out of their warm beds and followed their mother into the living room where their daddy waited on the couch. When he saw the children, he smiled and said, "Your daddy brought you a surprise." He tried to put his hand into the brown paper bag, but he could not seem to make it connect with the hole. He tried again. This time he reached in and pulled out a Hershey's chocolate bar and a bottle of Nesbitt's orange soda pop. The children stood there, unmoving. He looked up and said, "Don't just stand there. Come and get 'em. You can share 'em," he said. The children walked over to the couch. "Thanks," Susie said as she took the candy bar. Thanks," BJ said, and then he asked, "Did you bring home some food? We're hungry." Like a flash of lightning, his arm reached out and smacked BJ across the top of his head. BJ yelped in pain and cowered. "You ungrateful brat," he said. He took another swing at BJ, but their mother jumped in between the children and her husband. The blow landed on her abdomen with a thud. The force of the blow knocked her backwards, and she had difficulty maintaining her balance. "Get out of my way, woman," he said, attempting to get a hold of BJ. "You kids," she said, "go to your room. Daddy and I need to talk." The children ran off as fast as deer running from a hunter. She knew that they would crawl under BJ's bed and hide in the back corner out of their father's reach. With the children no longer his target, she received the brunt of his anger. He punched her again in the stomach and grabbed her hair. With her hair in his calloused hands, he dragged her into the bedroom and kicked the door shut. Then he repeatedly pummeled her body with his steel-toed work boot. The waves of pain from the blows immobilized her, and she lay on the floor in a semi-conscious state. He turned, stumbled onto the bed, and passed out. After a while, she regained consciousness and attempted to get up. Her left eye had swollen shut, and her lips were twice their normal size. Her nose was bleeding, and she wiped it with her arm. She checked her teeth to see if he had knocked any of them loose. After inspecting them with her index finger, she was relieved that they were all intact. Her right arm ached and hung at an odd angle. After several attempts, she was able to pull herself onto her knees with her left hand. Her right hand would not move. Her head was spinning, and she thought that she was going to vomit. She remained in that position for several minutes as she waited for the nausea and dizziness to subside. She had finally reached her end. She could not keep making excuses for him. When he was not drinking, he was a good man. However, lately, he had been drinking a lot. She loved him. Oh, how she loved him. She would always love him. But after tonight, the will to survive and to protect her children was stronger than her love for him. She made a one-armed crab crawl out to the bedroom door towards the telephone. Her progress was painful and slow. Like a man dying of thirst and seeing an oasis, she kept her eye on the phone, crawling inch by inch. Each movement sent waves of pain throughout her body. Finally, she fumbled for the receiver. It was difficult to see the keypad as she attempted to dial 911. Eventually, her fingers connected with the correct numbers, and she heard the welcoming sound of the call ringing her plea for assistance. 911, the dispatcher said. When there was no answer, the dispatcher stated again, 911, may I help you? In a voice that seemed to quaver through her swollen lips, she said, I need as the blow of his fist hit her in the head and knocked her out. "You don't need nothin'," he said as he looked at her beaten, unconscious